Hey everybody,
Hey.
we are back. We are back with some normalcy.
hmm
I am now back home, and I can now help run technical things. So Gary doesn't have to
Yeah,
stress about it.
whew, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you're home. Welcome back. And I'm glad you're at the controls. And I'm sure everyone else is going to be glad too. But
Yes, indeed.
welcome to Real Pastors Review, reviewing
Yeah,
a movie
review.
tonight.
Yeah, we are reviewing the Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt,
Chris Pratt.
and it came out on July 2nd. And here we go. There we go. There is the poster there. Here, let me take this off of here so y'all can actually see the full poster in its entirety.
Yeah.
But so this is what we are reviewing. We have been able to watch it. We both had a fairly busy weekend, but we were able to watch as it came on July 2nd. They obviously want this to be a 4th of July movie. You don't release a
Oh,
movie
yeah.
like this on 4th of July weekend if you don't want it to go down historically as a 4th of July movie. So it came out, and we are going to have some thoughts for everyone because, of course, we need to talk about this and see
hmm
what the thoughts of your two favorite and only real pastors.
Hey, what are our thoughts? Look at Chris Pratt looking
Yeah,
like a movie star on that poster.
yeah, they did like a
Yeah.
big tough movie star, like kind of
Yeah.
like Arnold Schwarzenegger esque,
Yeah. Yeah.
looking awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched this yesterday. The wife and I watched it while the
Mm-hmm.
kids were having their quiet time. Supposed to be nap time, but it didn't happen that way. And
Right.
I feel like every time the creatures were out, the kids would come out of the room. And
Oh, nice.
but yeah, I'll let you get started. What was your thoughts on this
So
war
I think we
film?
start off. I mean, I think as always, we'll start off with the good, going to the bad, and pastor and dad, and just work our
hmm
way through this bad boy. And so some of the good stuff, honestly, I thought it was pretty entertaining.
hmm
There were moments in this movie where I kind of felt like, this kind of felt like made for TV esque, if you will,
hmm
like certain aspects of it. I know Amazon bought this to be able to have just a screening on their on Amazon Prime. So I don't know if
hmm
this ever had an intent of being in the theaters or not. But probably the couple things I liked. One of all, I did really like the concept of it. The concept of going back in time, grabbing people from the past to come to the future to help fight this war. I really did like that. I like Chris Pratt in it. I thought he was great. I mean, but Chris Pratt is kind of showing that no matter what movie he's in, he's going to be Chris Pratt. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, so I mean, like it's one of those things. Is like I like him, but I don't know if we're going to get much more depth. We're going to have to see him in something different to see if we can, if we're going to have a true, top five actor. Like we talk about, our Tom Hanks, our
hmm
Robin Williams. Will he be able to break that atmosphere? Well, it's yet to be seen. We don't see it much in this movie. We see a little bit, but not too much. But I thought he
hmm
was good. And honestly, I'll just wrap up on this with first thoughts. I really did like the alien design. I like the way
Yeah.
they were designed, the way they worked and stuff. So I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah, yeah. I'll kind of piggyback there. I thought it was very entertaining. It kept the wife and I, Maggie and I, we both were, every time the kids come out of the room, like, oh, go back to nap. I'm trying to finish this movie, And so, yeah, it was very entertaining. And honestly, that's the first thing I look for when it comes to a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth the time investment? And yeah, it was a very interesting concept. A whole sending people into the future to fight a war. That was just a very
Mm-hmm.
interesting concept. And you're right about Chris Pratt. I've been a huge fan of his ever since Parks and Rec. And
Right.
but he's Chris Pratt,
Yeah.
and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'd like to see him branch out, maybe do something,
Mm-hmm.
maybe dramatic role. Maybe does he have an Adam Sandler side to him where he can do a really good dramatic role? We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Him and he's very similar to The Rock. Where you see The Rock in a movie, he's The Rock.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, this movie was, like I said, very entertaining, very interesting concept, and yeah, I feel like it was written for the mid '80s or late '90s, but came out this past week. You know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's a compliment from on my end, I think. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I laugh because I know that's a compliment. Like some people
mhm.
might. I know sometimes critics will use that as a tear down, but
Oh
I
yeah,
know coming from you that is a compliment because I mean let's be honest, some of the all time best and favorite action movies of people in
hmm
general come from
Yeah.
the 80s and 90s anyways. So that
Yeah.
is a complete compliment.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't Aliens or
Hmm.
what do you call it? Edge of Tomorrow, but
Hmm.
pretty good. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
the
Pretty fun
movie
movie.
version of the video game from Wreck-It Ralph. You know, where he
Oh,
goes
yeah.
into that
Yeah.
alien video game. This was the movie from that. That's what
Yeah.
I decided halfway in. But and I also was very surprised at how much I liked the design of the aliens or whatever they were. They were
Hmm.
like some freaky dog looking alien things.
Yeah. Freaky dog looking alien things that, uh, that throw spits, kind of spit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stuff at you, you know that. So
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool take, giving them something that they could else do, you know, that the aliens could do, and I thought that was good. Honestly, I thought like the just some of the action scenes, I thought they were pretty well done, especially when they're going through Miami, and then they show up in the Dominican, and then they're flying wherever else. Like all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff was pretty cool. There were some surprises to the aliens because the setup of where their base was, and you're just kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that seems safe, and then you're just kind of like, oh, I guess not,
Yeah.
you know.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so I think it did have. I mean, some of this stuff. Anyway, I get into that in a second, but I thought it was pretty good. I thought they had some good surprises, and like you said, very, very, very entertaining. And for me, I know I started off saying they definitely wanted this to be a Fourth of July movie. So like I felt like it did its job being a Fourth of July
Yeah.
movie, and
Yeah.
I'll save a little bit of that for later. So moving on to the bad. What do you think, Sir Gary? What was some of the bad stuff in this for you?
It was a little long.
Mhm.
The runtime. I looked on the IMDb machine. It was an hour and 20 minutes, and I went and looked at it. And after watching it, and I said, yeah, they could have cut about 20 minutes of that.
Mhm.
There are a couple scenes that dragged on a little bit. Yeah, that's really, it's a little long. Trying to think of what else really. I mean, you got to know what you're getting into when you watch this. You know,
Yeah.
you're watching an action movie, a fun action movie. You're not, and I kind of kept, because when I watch time travel movies, my mind automatically goes to what are the implications of the time travel, and
Mhm.
I had to tell myself like stop thinking that way. That's not what this movie's trying to do.
Right.
So yeah, if I had to say anything bad, it was a little long.
Mhm.
Some of the characters a little cliche, the background characters,
Mhm.
but other than that, that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, I think the runtime was a little long. Because like you said, some stuff did kind of drag on and things like that, where I just kind of felt like, some stuff could have been cut back a little bit. And to be honest with you, I'm not talking about stuff that like in the action per se. Like I don't think they should have cut back anything in the action because I think the way they built it, it was kind of, it was kind of earned. For exception of like the stairwell scene, I thought
Yeah,
like it was one of those like it was kind of predictable. And I say this because this is in the previews, right? So like
yeah,
it was a little like you knew what was going to happen, so it was like okay, you probably could have shaved off like 2 minutes in making this happen a little
yeah.
faster, And so like and there's some
Yeah.
stuff like that.
There was one scene in the middle when they're in the Dominican. It was the Dominican Republic, right?
Hmm.
And the mission they were going on was very important. However, it took forever, and it
Yeah.
just went on way too long. And that was when I thought, okay, they probably should have chopped that up a little bit. And there's one part, the movie feels like it has. There's literally it feels like it ends twice. Like
Yeah.
it kind of feels like there's a part one and part two, and they just kind of mash them together. But there's one part of the movie where you feel like it's ending, and I looked at Megan and I said, "This has got 40 minutes left.
Yeah.
What else are they gonna do? Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I try not to be overly critical. Maybe I should be more critical, but yeah, it just is a little long, and it felt like I don't want to necessarily say a TV movie, but it felt like yeah, this is for streaming, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is like these days saying it felt like a TV movie, I guess.
Right.
But it's which I guess isn't bad. It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And that's the thing. It's like I think they were pretty like this is just what we're doing. This is why like it was like okay, if this was made for theaters, I wonder what would have changed if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it did seem kind of. It almost seemed like they started off with this grand idea, and a lot of the stuff, like the alien designs and stuff, felt big budget. but then other aspects of the movie felt kind of like, okay, now we know it's going to streaming, so let's cut some things back and let's do some things a little different. And to me, I feel like there were different moments of that where like there were certain moments where me personally, I told Katie, I was like, man, after that, I wish I would have seen this in the theater. But then there were other parts of the movie where I was just kind of like, okay, like maybe
that stairwell scene would have been great in the theater, dark theater,
Oh yeah, yep,
yeah,
the stairwell scene, and then like, I mean, just them going through like Miami, and then just that whole sequence of them trying to run out of there, like in the way like the bombing, all this kind of stuff that was happening. Like it was all, I thought, really, really good. And so I know we're supposed to talk about the bad, but I feel like I can't talk bad without pointing out the good. But that's like, for me, it was like, it was good. Even like some of the supporting characters, they might have been cliche, but I thought they worked, and I thought those things did well. And I think that's where maybe they lost it a little bit for me, is because I felt like they didn't fully commit into what kind of movie they wanted, right? Like I felt like at some point you're like, we're just going Independence Day, fun alien movie, doesn't have to make sense, mixed with some time travel. But then it was like, okay, now we're digging into these side characters' backstories a little bit. Now we're digging into Chris Pratt and, the lady, not trying to spoil anything, but the lady he's working with. Yeah, and then so like we're kind of digging to that kind of back future story. So like so it's almost kind of seemed like they were going to be, like they couldn't decide, are we going to just have fun and be self-aware and let this be a fun, again, 4th of July movie, or are we going to try to take this movie seriously? And I think that's where they kind of lost their way, which if they would have just committed one to the other, I think this would have been a better movie.
Yeah, there's definitely some toning issues, and this isn't so. As I'm watching it, I'm thinking, okay, whoever wrote and directed this, or you're seeing there's an homage to Aliens several times, Edge of Tomorrow, I Am Legend, and Walking Dead, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but as much as I did enjoy this movie, it just like made me sit there and think. I was sitting there watching it, I'm just thinking about Edge of Tomorrow and how great of a movie that is. And and the other one. So nothing wrong paying homage, but it's also like, oh, I'll see where you got this from,
Yeah. So. Yeah, and that's where it was just it was interesting because like, I pulled up this shot right here. And again, like moments like this I thought were just really, really good. But but I just wonder if they just focus so much on these great sequences and scenes that they just rushed the character development side. So then I think that's where Eli had a lot of toning issues, because it was like big fun, explosion, tension, running, shooting, and then all of a sudden you had this hard break, and then it's like, okay, let's do some character development. Now let's go back to it, and it was really like up and down. So this is where it's like, again, I have to talk about the bad, I have to bring up the good because they're correlated, they're tied together. And I would say probably the final thing for me that I was just kind of like, man, this didn't kind of work as well as I think they hoped, was the whole, like, I guess third act, right? Or the fourth act. I think you know what I'm talking about. You said you felt like it ended twice. So like that whole third act, although cool, and honestly, it made sense in the story what they were doing, but it felt like a completely different movie.
It really did. It really did. Yeah. Shout out to J.K. Simmons, by the way. Huge fan of that guy. He was a huge addition to this movie. Without him, he was in there briefly, but without him, I would not have liked this as much, because he was awesome as always. Definitely felt like different. And just to say, talking about the characters, the guy on the far right, I liked that character, but they didn't really know what they wanted him to do, it felt like. And I'm sitting there thinking, is he the funny guy? Is he the coward, like scared guy? Or is he like the sidekick? Because he kept going back and forth from all three. Like he would be the funny guy, saying sarcastic things alongside Chris Pratt, and I would kind of relate it to him because I was like, I'd probably be that way, just like, yeah, whatever, just talking, And then and then all of a sudden he's, sidekick, and then next thing you know, he's scared. I was just like, so what are we doing here? So that goes into, into the tone issues, character development, I guess. But, when you got a movie like this, sometimes things just need to blow up instead of, characters stuff,
Yeah, exactly. And this is where, like for me, like I'm just thinking, okay, like if you're doing this 4th of July type of epic, just commit to the fun alien action. I mean, when we talk about what is our all time favorite fourth, well, not all time favorite, but like one of our favorite Fourth of July movies, Independence Day.
Independence Day.
Just
David.
yeah, a lot of silliness, a lot of
Mhm.
stupidity, but the characters knew who they were. There was a reason why they were there. They fulfilled their roles, every single one. The story,
Mhm.
of course, was just fun. Alien flicks. All the stuff makes sense? No, of course not. But that's what they
Yeah.
weren't trying to do. They wanted to make a big budget, high quality action movie. And when it comes to
Mhm.
action movies, stuff just doesn't make sense. Again, you got to know what
Yeah.
you're getting into, and
Yeah.
that's where I wish this would have just committed to. Like, don't worry about.
Mhm.
I get you want a little bit of character development. Obviously, you want to know where your characters came from and why and what got them there, but you don't necessarily care too much about motivation, right? Because
Mhm.
ultimately in this movie, the motivation was, I'm saving my daughter. Okay, if that's
Mhm.
your motivation, then
All you need.
that's all you need. Then,
Mhm.
just show us a little bit of backstory so we know who our characters are. Show us how they got in this picture, right? Show us how they got
Mhm.
to this moment, and then let it play out. That's all we need.
Yep.
That's all we
Yep.
need. And
And,
if they
and
would have
there was
stuck to that,
enough. Yeah, and there was enough in there where, not to spoil anything, but where you kind of figure out the everything that's going on, future and present,
mm-hmm,
past, and that moment was really, really, really good when you find that out, and that was enough. You
mm-hmm,
know what I'm saying? That's all we needed right there for the heartfelt stuff, and then just commit to the chaos around.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
so.
I mean, and even if they would have done like to tie in the end that I said felt like a different movie, because
Mhm.
when they show up in the future, right? There's this thing that happens that they could have very easily made it. All right, now we just have this ragtag of put together misfits, right? There's
Mhm.
pretty much just we have this ragtag group of people that don't know each other from anything other than hey, how
Mhm.
are you? You
Yeah.
could have had that ragtag team do everything for the whole movie. Again, these four, maybe add one more
Mhm.
person, right? You could have had
Mhm.
just them going through everything, and then I think that would have made more sense with that final
Yeah.
that third act that felt a little bit out of place because at least everything would have felt ragtag. Where
Mhm.
instead you had army, like you had a whole
Mhm.
squadron, right?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden we're ragtag, and
Yeah.
and there was this whole government doesn't want to believe them stuff, and it's like really after all they did, like it
Yeah.
just didn't make sense.
I don't want to spoil anything, but that was. I'm trying to figure out a way to address that. I was going to talk to you
Mm-hmm.
about it off show, but I'll just go into it. I had that was probably my biggest problem with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they do to fight the Tomorrow War, they have a draft, they send random civilians into the future,
Mm-hmm.
but they can't send this ragtag group of people somewhere on an airplane to
Yeah,
possibly try to stop it. They had a
from
problem
happening.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I looked at Megan and I was like, so they can't, the guy's not going to do that, but he'll send people in the
yeah,
future. That's okay. But,
yeah,
that was all like, all right.
yeah. They
But
came
that
from
was
the
only just
future.
for yeah.
They came from the
Now,
future. They have an answer to stop it, and then
yeah.
I'm not spending tax dollars on this.
Yeah,
And
you
you're
want
just like,
taxpayer money to, I was like, to go to, I don't want to spoil it, but to
yeah.
just,
Yes, you will. You will
what
spend
are you
taxpayer
talking
money
about?
because the taxpayers will be like, "Thank you. Take
And
more
that
if that's
was
what you need."
only in there for the ending where the guy was doing the press conference and saying, I told him to go. And I was like, that's the only reason that whole part was in there,
Yeah,
or to cause some conflict. I don't
yeah.
know.
Well,
But
that and the other one, which was like you still could have done this, was to bring in J.K. Simmons' character at the end again.
mm-hmm,
Like they
mm-hmm,
needed an excuse to bring his character in, which
mm-hmm,
you could have done better,
yeah.
right? You could have done better. He still could have needed that because they still could
Mm-hmm,
have gone with I don't know, try not to spoil, but with the problems that were happening in the world where they said there's a
yeah.
lot of distrust between countries, right? And so
Mm-hmm,
like even though the government is sending them, they still needed him to actually like make this mission happen, right?
yeah.
Because if the countries didn't trust each other, yes, hey, we'll give you all the resources we need, but you got to figure it out on your own. Like we don't have an answer right now. We're trying to deal with all this stuff. I would have been okay with that,
Yeah.
and it would have
Mm-hmm.
worked a lot better.
Yeah, and I think that's where it goes. I really think this was two movies crammed into one. And I think if they would have had time to flesh out that third act, I think we maybe have gotten something like that. But it was,
Yeah,
you know,
and that's what
so.
kills me because it was like that third act made complete sense to the story, but the way it played out, it just felt totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing for me. It
Yeah,
was just kind of like,
yeah, yeah.
So, but But moving on here onto the pastor's side, I think I'll just go ahead and just dig into this one, uh, since you did bad first. Just
Oh,
alternating.
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But for me, I think the biggest thing that I thought was good was, like, just like when you're in a group of people, yeah, you're going to have a leader, and yeah, you're going to have to trust that leader. But then
Mhm.
now these people are trusting this leader with their life, right? But then that leader has to, like, these people that he doesn't know. You can't just, like, be expendable and stuff, because there was a little bit of banter when they first show up, where Chris Pratt is just like, "All right, here's what I need you to do. Here's what I need you to do. Hey, keep your eyes up. Keep your head. This is the situation." He's literally walking them through it, and then one of the other characters said, "You're wasting your time
Mhm.
trying to turn them into soldiers." He's like, "Man, I'm just trying to save everybody. I'm trying to keep everyone
Mhm.
as safe as I can." He's like, "Look out for number one." So seeing that difference of look out for number one, and this guy who's like, "I don't know you, but I'm gonna do what I can to keep you safe." I just thought that was a really good, um, I forget that was dichotomy, where like you
Mhm.
just saw like two different mindsets, where you have people who are going to be selfish and look out for themselves, and then of course from a past perspective, you're always looking out for the interests of others first, right?
Yeah.
So I liked seeing that, and that Chris Patch's character is like, I mean, yeah, I know what to do, and I could probably just leave everyone and do this myself, but I got a team of people with me, and I got to look out for their interests just as much as my own, and you know, of course, we're better together. And so I just really like
Mhm.
that whole aspect of how the whole movie and stuff played out.
Yeah. Yeah, same. That whole like I have a goal, I have a mission. However, I'm going to try to execute that as safely and to take care of everybody as much as possible. And
Mm-hmm.
to see his character still have that mindset, yeah, because you did that. That was a very good part of the movie. It had the whole theme of the movie was do things matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the people in the future saying nothing matters. And the people in the past saying the same thing, nothing matters. And then here's Chris Pratt's character in the middle saying this people still matter. Our
Mm-hmm.
relationships still matter. And that was a very good part of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then even because of his leadership in that way, the character that said those things at the end ends up being one of the people of his
Mm-hmm.
ragtag team.
Yeah.
And even though he had his own issues, honestly, if it wasn't for him and that ragtag team, that war would have
Mm-hmm.
been lost then too. Like, so
Yep.
you're seeing people also make self-sacrificial moves, and you see them grow a little bit because of his leadership and his mentality. And I like that they did that because of what you said. Well, ultimately, if you have people looking around saying, no matter what's going on around us, the people closest to us, the people around us still matter.
Mm-hmm.
Our relationships still matter. How that can change people, even if you don't like that. He didn't know any of them, but he still said
Mm-hmm.
you mattered, and that just means so much. And we see other characters from that group make some decisions to save the group, all because of
Yeah.
because of leadership. I mean, I just thought that was really good of just showing how, like you said, people matter.
Yeah. Yep.
So moving on to the dad. Go ahead, take it away there, Sir Gary. Your
I mean,
thoughts as a pop.
uh, well, I think this is definitely, Chris Pratt's a family man. There's a really solid message in there.
Mm-hmm.
And without spoiling, can't really spoil anything. But content wise, definitely, I think the teenage age for my kids watching
Yeah.
this, even though they got a glimpse of it yesterday because they wouldn't do nap time. But yeah, I think, you know, didn't seem like there was a whole lot of language. Don't remember a whole lot of that. And
Yeah.
the violence is basically war alien violence. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely stick to that PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just know my kids, especially. I mean, I honestly, I don't know any kid who watches
Mm-hmm.
this and doesn't get freaked out by the aliens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and you have aliens getting their heads blown off, limbs blown
Mm-hmm.
off. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
since it's alien violence and alien blood, that's what keeps it PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
But those things happen, and I don't know any kid, probably realistically, especially nowadays, the way things are, probably under the age of 10, being okay watching this and not having nightmares forever.
Yeah.
But again, your kids. I mean, I'm probably going to wait for them to be, again, maybe 11, 12 or so,
Yeah.
if they want to watch this. If not 13, each of my kids are different, but yeah. So I mean, like I said, there's a little bit of language in this.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing, anything remotely close to anything sexual in this movie, and it's all alien violence. So it's not
Yeah.
like it's not like a PG-13 trying to be R or anything like that. It is a
Yeah.
very
Or let's
toned
see how
down
far to
PG-13.
the edge we can go, you know.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and it's refreshing to, you know, this day and time watch a movie like this that is streaming. So usually streaming movies, shows have very few guidelines, very few restrictions. And to make a movie like this and not have an F-bomb every 15 seconds, I appreciate that, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Or some nudity every, 10
yeah.
minutes. It just
Because
yeah.
we can, because we're
Yeah.
edgy. Look at that.
Yeah. Look at that. So yeah.
So,
So moving right along here, we
that
are
sounded
time.
weird.
Yeah.
I didn't mean for that to
It's all
sound weird.
good. It happens. But here we go. It's time for Hail Marys. We have got to rate this thing. Just so you guys, just a reminder, we do Hail Marys based on 1 to 5. We make decisions. We do not have half Hail Marys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, don't waste your time. Complete dumpster fire. It's a miracle if we finished it. 5 is an absolute masterpiece. So this one, from the way we've been talking, Gary and I don't talk about our ratings beforehand, but from the way we've been talking, I think we might be on the same page. But Gary, what is your rating, sir?
I'm gonna give this a solid 3 out of 5. Right there.
There we go.
Check it out, watch it. Try not to think about it too much. Just enjoy it and try to catch the heartfelt moments in it, because there is some stuff in there. And then check out the movies like it that are much better: Aliens, Edge of Tomorrow, I Am Legend, first few seasons, some seasons of The Walking Dead.
Some seasons,
but yeah, solid 3. Definitely watchable, fun. But yeah, solid 3 for me.
Yeah, and I'll just leave that up there. I mean, I'm the same boat. I think it was a solid 3. It was it was good. It wasn't great. It was good. It was fun. You guys already heard our reviews, so I think it's a good, fun one. I think it can, me personally, I think it can be like, hey, if you want to watch a movie for 4th of July, yeah, you can throw that in there. But of course, I am watching Jaws, Sandlot, Independence Day first before I watch this. But it's a fun movie. It's, like I said, pretty clean. If you have older kids and teens, it's a fun one to watch with a family, pretty safe. And like I said, don't think about it too much. I agree with that one. But pretty solid, pretty solid. Not great, but good. A good, fun movie to waste 2 hours.
There you go. So there's our review, Real Pastors Review.
Yeah, we reviewed it. Check it out. It's on Amazon Prime, so it's completely free to you. Go ahead and watch it. Support. For me, you support with your viewings or with your dollars, right? I think this is a good one to support. Show Amazon, show others, hey, these are the kind of movies we like. These are the kind of movies we like to watch. So keep making them, and it'll just be so much better. So I'm
ready for the sequel, The Yesterday Battle.
There we go.
Yeah, I'll get out.
Yeah. Hey, you got to have dad jokes, right? Got to have them. So just so you guys know, if you're watching this review and you're like, man, I would like some more reviews, we will be checking out Black Widow this Thursday night. Gary and I already have tickets, so we'll be reviewing that at some point, maybe Friday. We'll see. Me and Gary figure it out later, as we always do. And just keep checking us out. I am working for any of you who thought, hey, what happened to the podcast? I'm working on it. We had some glitches. I will get it up and running by the end of the week. Don't you worry.
And just so you know, give you all peace of mind, I am not working on it. All the technical stuff, Efren's taken care of. So
fair enough.
Good news.
Yeah.
So I won't mess anything up.
Or maybe next time I'll get better instructions so Gary can actually know what to do.
I don't know.
Anyway, so thanks for joining us, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit that subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on the bell, hit that like button for us so more and more people can check out our videos and just hear what your favorite real pastors have to say on movies. So thanks for joining us, everyone, and we will catch you later this week. See you. I almost did that like you. Whatever. I'm deuces. See you, everybody.
See you.